I'm Shannon. I'm a physical therapist at Frederick Sport and Spine Clinics. This is Sarah. She is a former FC Frederick alumni, and she also played at University of Maryland. If she wants to give you a little background on who she is and how she played at FC Frederick.
Yeah, hi guys. I'm Sarah. I've been playing soccer all my life. I started playing at FC Frederick when I was about 5 years old, and I went all the way up through high school, and then I went on to continue my soccer career at the University of Maryland.
All right, so we are going to be providing some videos for some general wellness, some injury prevention, and to improve your performance once you get back onto the field. So some of these videos will include some stretching. Our first video is going to include some static stretching to help you improve your flexibility and range of motion while you're at home, which will also in turn help with some injury prevention and improve your performance once you get back onto the field in competitive play. Our second video is actually going to include some self-massage techniques like foam rolling, stick rolling, and things like that you can also do at home to improve that muscle flexibility. We're going to start by showing you some calf stretches. So I'm going to have Sarah demonstrate a couple different versions of a calf stretch. So for the first one, this one you can do off the edge of a step. So I'm going to have you step up on the block there and just some support for balance there. And you're just going to drop this heel off of the blocks here. So just like you were doing it on a step at home, and you should feel that stretch in the back of your calf here. Hold for about 30 seconds, generally 2 or 3 on each side. And then I'm going to show you another version of this stretch. Go ahead and step off. We call this a runner's stretch. So all you're going to do is lunge into it and keep your heel flat on the floor. And try to keep your toes pointed straight forward. Once again, you can feel that in the back of your calf, and you can hang on to the wall if you need for balance there. Same concept there, 30 seconds, 2 or 3 on each side. And then there's one more stretch to target more of the soleus muscle, and you can prop your toe up against a wall or the edge of a step. Bend your knee on this one, so make sure that knee bends a little bit and lean into the wall. We're going to go over some hip flexor stretches here. So Sarah's showing you the first one in a kneeling position. So with this one, the big thing is we don't want to see you lunging forward and causing an increased curve in your low back. So go ahead and come on back to neutral here. So make sure you tuck that pelvis in by tightening the glutes, squeezing the abdominals there, and just lean into it to protect the low back, and you should feel the stretch right in the front of your hip here. So another way you could do this stretch is in a standing position. Same concept here, but just in a little lunge to where you have the same hip mechanics here. Try to keep the hips tilted forward without causing too much curve in the low back. In a standing position there. Same thing, keep those toes pointed forward, hips square, and you should feel that in the front of the thigh here. So the next stretch we're going to show you is a standing quad stretch. So you should feel the stretch in through your quad muscles here. So what I'm going to have you do, Sarah, is go ahead and hang on to a foam roller or a railing if you need to. Grab onto the foot. With this one, make sure your knee stays pointed straight towards the ground. A common mistake here is to flare the knee outward. So make sure it points straight towards the ground. Keep your shoulders up, don't lean forward into it, and keep your hips square. Same thing, hold for about 30 seconds, and you can do 2 or 3 of those on each side. And the next stretches we're going to show you are to target more the groin muscles or the inner thigh muscles here. So first one here is a butterfly stretch. So Sarah's showing you the position here to start, and some ways you can deepen the stretch but don't overstress the stretch are to hinge forward just like we did with the hamstring without rounding too much in the back, or to just press with the elbows into the knees to get a little bit deeper of a stretch there. All right, some other ways you can do this stretch is if you extend those legs out into a V position. And some different ways you can stretch out those inner thigh muscles are to lean forward. Once again, trying to keep the back as flat as you can. And you should feel that both in the inner thigh muscles, and you can also reach towards one foot and the other foot to target more one side or the other here. So another version of this stretch, go ahead and stand up, is more of a side lunge stretch to target the inner thigh here. So we're just gonna take a lunge out to the side, and you should feel that right in your inner thigh there. And try to keep this foot pointed straight forward and lean into it there. All right, next we're gonna show you some different ways to stretch out the hamstring or the muscle on your back of the thigh here. So we're gonna start with doing a seated figure 4 stretch. So I'm gonna have Sarah go ahead, lean forward, touch your toes. So one big common mistake here is to round out through the low back. So one thing with a hamstring stretch is you wanna take out the low back and isolate the hamstring. So I'm gonna have you come back up, and as much as you can, hinge from the hips and lean forward. That way you are protecting the low back this way. All right, same concept here, 30 seconds, 2 or 3 times on each side here to improve that flexibility. Another way you can do a hamstring stretch also lying down is you're gonna bend one knee, grab behind the knee, and this way this isolates the hamstring, takes out the low back from here, and just reach that foot up towards the ceiling until you feel that stretch in the back of your thigh here. All right, the next one we're gonna do are a couple versions of some standing and seated hamstring stretches. So first, I'm gonna have you prop that foot up on the chair, and you can hang on to something if you need. Same concept here. This is something you can do on the sidelines if you prop your foot up on a bleacher or on a step. And just same thing, hinge into that stretch. Make sure you're not rounding through the low back, and you should feel that in the back of your thigh there. So if you don't have a step or a chair or a bleacher to hang on to, you could do it flat on the ground. Say if you're just on a field, reach forward down towards your toe. And same thing, keeping that back nice and flat. You should feel that stretch in through the back of your hamstring there. All right, and come on back up. And one last one you could do is also seated in a chair with that same concept there. So maybe go ahead and sit in the chair, prop one leg out. Same concept, hinging from the hips, reaching down towards your foot there. The last stretches we're gonna show you are for the back of the hip, so your glutes and your piriformis here. So I'm gonna have you show a glute stretch first. I'm gonna have you cross one leg over in a figure 4 position. Have a hand here, and pull that leg back towards you. Keep that opposite knee bent, hips flat on the floor, and you should feel the stretch in the back of your hip. Hold for about 30 seconds again, 2 or 3 on each side. I'm going to show you how to bias more of the deeper hip muscles or the piriformis by bringing that knee towards the opposite shoulder. And you can hold that one for 30 seconds as well. And you can demonstrate the other side also.